Let's plan our next semester of American history. Hi, my name is Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. On my channel, we talk about all things homeschool. I have a fifth grader and we are really just enjoying this ride. Now, next semester, we are going to be finishing up American history. So we're going to be doing America's Story 3, and this is from the early 1900s to modern times. And so I just wanted to take you along with me as I plan this semester. This is a video that has been requested, and so I hope that I answer your questions. If I do not, please make sure that you leave those down in the comments and I will happily answer them to the best of my ability. So, first off, the things that I need to start with. I have the textbook, the teacher's guide. Now, I don't always use the teacher's guide with this MasterBooks America's Story, but I got it because I'm hoping that it has some activities in it that we will like. And then also I need my computer and a pen. And so today I'm using a gel pen that smells like chocolate chip cookies. So then we will go through some of the other materials that I use, but this is what I really start out with. What I have already done, I do this with history primarily. I may do it with other subjects, it just depends. So what I do is I make a grid, and so I can say, how many weeks I'm planning on the topics within America's Story, and then what am I going to be doing with that. So I have books to add, activities or projects, and then additional, and that would be any types of games or field trips or things like that that I think are really important, and I want to make sure that I don't forget about them. So I put how many weeks I am planning for each of the different topics, and I don't always follow exactly that schedule, but it at least gives me a starting point. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera down to the desk and then we'll go from there and we'll start planning. First thing that I want to do is look at the resources that I already have to see if they will be able to be utilized, and then I won't have to spend any additional money. So my daughter loves this American history comic books. We've been using it since the beginning of American history. The Pilgrims of Plymouth was the first thing that we used. Now, we did America's Immigrants in America's Story 2. So it looks like Henry Ford and the assembly line. So Ford, so I have, let's see. So we do have Henry Ford and the assembly line. So I have been picking up a few things because I knew that we were going to be doing this part of America's history coming up, and so I picked up a few resources whenever they were on clearance or something like that. So we'll have Draw and Write Through History, Invention, Exploration, and the War. So you see, this starts with the early 1900s. So you have Model T, Titanic. So this will be, let's see here. If you see what this is really teaching you doing some drawing. Here's the Titanic, just for fun, and then you can do some copy work if you want to work on your cursive. So that may be something that we want to do. Well, we probably won't do that for every one of them, but we'll just see. Then we have World. I found this comic book, actually found two of them, World War I and World War II. And this is a graphic novel with regards to World War I and World War II. So we will just be adding this to what we're doing since it's so fun. I also have the interactive 3D American history. We have really enjoyed doing these maps. So we finished, let's see, we did immigrants flocked to America. So we have the Panama Canal, civil rights, and from Earth to the Moon. So we do have 3 of these that we can use. Oh, let's see here. I do not have any of the history pockets. I actually haven't even looked to see yet if there are history pockets for this time period. We used them for American Story 1 and 2, and we really enjoyed them. But I wanted to get some different types of activities, and so we're going to try not to use history pockets unless I just need them for for activities for this America Story 3. So we're going to be doing the Panama. We've also used this writing trails in American history. This goes really well with our IEW because they teach us the same thing, to outline a story and then to rewrite it. So let's see what they have for this time period. Looks like World War I and World War II are really the only thing that they have. Something else that I found was this great World War II projects that you can build yourself. We had a Civil War book that was similar to this, and we really liked it. I found this used, so it's definitely been used, so that's good, right? So this has some really good, it has fashions, the food rationing, spying, so code breakers, that one will probably be fun. So we'll do some of these World War II projects. It's like this is really getting to be a full section, but if you look, I have 5 weeks scheduled for World War II. So I am planning on doing a lot with regards to World War II anyway, so I do need this section to be full. I found this, and I'll make sure that I link down below as many of these resources as I can, but I found this book on Book Outlet, and it's just a fun book where it's a sticker book where you dress up the different soldiers for the 2 wars, but I thought that this would just be a fun sticker book to have something a little, fun and zero stress to do. I also found World War II for kids. So this has 21 activities. There's also reading in here. And so let's look at these activities. So your first activity is going to be drawing a recruiting poster. So that would be, we're putting on the heat to cook Hitler's goose. So that would be fun. Breaking the code, that will be fun. Learning how to make a bandage. So there are quite a few activities in here that I really want to make sure that we do. The next thing that I want to do is books to add. So my go-to is the Who Was books. So I've been able to get some of these books just throughout the years, and I want to see what I have already, and then we can see if there's any places that I need to put to add, because Who Was has quite a few books for this time period. So first off, we have this In Disguise, Undercover with Real Women Spies. This is a book that goes throughout history. We have been using this and we really liked it. So I'm going to continue this for World War I. As I mentioned, I have already purchased some books that will be used for read-alouds and references, and so I want to see again what I have, and then I can see what I still need if there are any gaps in here. So we have G.I. Joe and Lily. So this is for World War II. So we will probably use this as a read-aloud. I have Soldier Dogs Attack on Pearl Harbor. My daughter likes any of these that are animal related. So we have this one, and then she also really enjoys the Ranger in Time books, which I think I may have some of those as well. I have A Boy at War. This is a novel of Pearl Harbor. The Perfect Horse. This is the daring rescue of horses kidnapped during World War II. Inside Out and Back Again. I believe that this is a Vietnam. Yes, this is a Vietnam. Days of Decision. Bush, Blair, and Iraq. So this would be George Bush. Ranger in Time. The Escape from the Great Earthquake. This is such a great series, this Ranger in Time. We've read quite a few of these and liked all of them. Survival Trails, the Titanic. The Great Depression, an interactive history adventure. This is one that I really want to make sure that we absolutely do because we like these interactive history adventures. I introduced my daughter to them last semester, and it was one of her favorite books. Two Roads. This is, I believe, right after the Great Depression, right? It's 1932. Winnie's Great War. Now, we did the picture book for this just as a read aloud and enjoyed it. And so we are going to make sure that we do the chapter book because my daughter enjoyed the picture book so much. Next set of books are all about the civil rights movement. I do have quite a few of them because I want to make sure that we work with the civil rights movement. So we have With the Might of Angels, Betty Before X, Promise of Change, One Crazy Summer, and Walking with Miss Millie. I've also found this Panama Canal book, which we're going to include. Okay. So those are the resources that I've already have. So it looks, as you can see, it looks like I do have quite a bit of resources. And the Wright brothers, I'm not really concerned about not having anything for the Wright brothers because we were able to visit the Wright brothers museum just a few months ago. So she has recently seen the Wright brothers museum, and I'm not concerned about not having anything extra. Again, for World War II, I have quite a bit. I may have to pare this down, or I may be reading those as read alouds even while we're moving forward in history. So this page is a little bit blank. I guess I'm pretty surprised at how little that I have for the Vietnam, the 80s, the 90s, and then recent history. So what we'll do again is I'll take the civil rights movement and some of these books. I will just keep on reading them down through here. I do want to find some additional resources. What I do now is I will go on to the Sunlight the Sunlight web pages. Now, obviously, we don't use Sunlight, but they have amazing book recommendations. So if there's any time that I'm missing book recommendations for a specific era, I will just go onto Sunlight and see what they have available. So let's see what I can find. I've looked through the Sunlight books, and it looks like there's just a few that we will be adding. So we have Plain Girl, which is about Amish, and so I think that will probably, we'll just go ahead and put it here. I'm not sure that it matters when we do that. And so the reason that I didn't get too many from Sunlight is because we have already read quite a few that would be included for this section from Sunlight. So right now I need to find something for 1980s politics, which really should not be that hard because it is recent history, 1980s politics. And then that should be it for what and that really should be it for what we're doing. Now, some of the other things that we will be using is I have the president's 850 questions and answers from George Washington to Barack Obama. And so we're going to be really concentrating on the presidents. So if you haven't seen these before, it has questions and answers. So which president was born in Hawaii and lived in Indonesia between the ages of 6 and 10? How often is the White House painted white? We'll be using this throughout. I'm going to go on to YouTube and find a president's song so that we can work on just becoming really familiar with the presidents throughout the United States history. Also received the Heritage Letter that we do receive each month, and it has a different person highlighted. So for example, this is Will Rogers, and it has great information in the Heritage Letter, and so we will be incorporating this where it makes sense. So for example, this one is dated 1933, so I will be reviewing Will Rogers at that time period. The last thing I do is look through the teacher's guide. I know that doesn't really make sense for this to be the last thing that I do, but what I want to do is really see if there's anything amazing that we need to include, or if I am missing activities or projects. And the reason being is my daughter doesn't like to draw, and so you can see that there's drawing throughout this. And then also she doesn't like to write, and so we have written narration. So I really need to make sure that I choose wisely what we use from this teacher's guide, because I don't want to stifle her love of history, and she just doesn't really like these activities for the most part. There are some that she likes, but they do have good geography activities in here that we normally use. And then they have, so like this one we'll probably use. You're going to the Berlin Wall, plan on designing a t-shirt. What would you put on your t-shirt? So this is good because it doesn't have to be hugely detailed, and it just gets her thinking about the activity and the Berlin Wall. And then you can see here is the a map, and so we do quite a few of the map activities that they have within America's Story teacher's guide. Let's see. After I just said that, it looks like I am going to be using the teacher's guide because they have some really good activities, or what looks like good activities within the teacher's guide. So I'm going to just have the teacher's guide be something that I constantly am looking at. So now that I have this set up and know that I really don't need to get that much more other materials, what I may get is What Was the Berlin Wall, because I know that the Who Was books have that. And so I'll look to get this. So I need to circle it because I need to purchase that. And then I may... we already did a 9/11 study, so I have some materials with this, but they do have What Was the Twin Towers. And I may or may not get that. We'll just have to see how it's going. I have time to come back and see if I'm going to be doing What Was the Twin Towers. So what I will do now is I'll be on the lookout for activities and projects for, Vietnam, which I should be able to find Vietnam projects pretty easily. But I don't want to purchase anything now because I want to make sure that I find them on sale, if at all possible. It will be my overall arching map for America's Story 3. And then what I will do is just every week when I plan in my planner for that week, I'm going to get this out and say, okay, weeks 1 and 2, let's look and see and get out these materials to make sure that I have everything that I need for that week. Did you ever do something and think, this is not right while you were doing it? Well, I did that while I was recording this video. I kept thinking, I know I have more Who Was books for this era, but I couldn't find them because I had put them away to bring out when it was the appropriate time. So here are some more Who Was books that we are using for this, for our history. I have Who Was George Washington Carver. Then we have Who Was Franklin Roosevelt, Who Was Richard Nixon, Who Was Woodrow Wilson, Who Was Coretta Scott King, Who Was Martin Luther King, Who Was Ronald Reagan, Who is Barack Obama, and Who is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So these are going to be included. I can't believe that I couldn't find them, and I found them about 30 minutes after I recorded the video, so I apologize for that, but these will be included, which means that I don't need to buy anything else since I have the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today basically covered with these Who Was books. The only other thing that I'll plan on purchasing is if I find some amazing deal, and I think it's really going to help us. But I do apologize for that, but I'm glad that I found these before I published the video. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that you have a great day. If you're not subscribed, please do so, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.